Hi, my name is Chris Bosley. I live at 126 Croydon Avenue in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. Croydon Avenue, Croydon Park. And it is 5:15 in the morning on Friday. That's Friday the 9th of December. And so I just wanted to talk about the more Theological Bible College students. This building, 126 Croydon Avenue, is majority owned by the Anglican Church, and they use it to house more Theological Bible College students. The Anglican Church here in Australia is extremely powerful. It's like a cult, and they have deep-seated connections to the Australian government, and they basically run things here. It's a really insidious undercurrent that you don't see really unless you have been around it and are apt to notice things like that. Premier Mike Barrett is an Anglican. His father was a politician. The Minister of Planning is an Anglican. The previous Prime Minister Howard is an Anglican, I'm pretty certain. And they're extremely powerful, but add to the power that they're cheats and completely immoral. And they'll do anything to win. They'll hurt anybody to win. These people here, these students here at Moore Theological Bible College have been hurting my wife and I since we've lived here. They've been destroying our computers and destroying our phones, been monitoring our phones for no reason, and destroying data at will. Anytime I find evidence that shows of their criminal activity, they destroy it. They often don't delete it outright. They'll just delete parts of the evidence that are the most valid. They're trained by, I'm certain that they're trained by their legal teams. They have lawyers and they have a huge framework of infrastructure. They have extremely rich people that support them. People like Van de Gould, who's an extremely rich Sydney accountant, and he gives millions of dollars to the Moore Theological Bible College, and he's helped give lots of rich privileged people legs up by paying one guy, he paid for his trip to Oxford, paid for his school in Oxford. So extremely corrupt, and they sell their souls for their power and their cash, because these students here are scumbags, the ones that I'm talking about. They're computer criminals, and they've sold themselves. They're nothing left. They have hearts as black as pitch, and all they do all day is spend their time trying to cover their asses. They tell one lie, and then they tell 10 more to cover that up. So they're monitoring the phone, and they've been monitoring this phone since we got it. And one example is the date. Okay, I always set the date to go. I always set the date to be manually changed in the system. And by that I mean if the date is wrong, I want to change it manually. I don't want it to connect to the internet every time and check every 10 minutes. So I have it off. Oftentimes I've noticed that this is on when it's not supposed to be on. The Bluetooth is on right now. I never turned that on. Things like that happen all the time. They control the phone in every single way. They change the battery profile, for example. Here's an example where they change the battery profile. They have absolute root control of the phone. Here's the battery profile that they changed. No, not that, sorry. Here. And you can see that this is part of the K, the kernel log, and you can see it's a new battery profile. Shortly after they got the phone, they inserted a new battery profile. And then they started screwing around with the battery, and there's other videos I show on how they were using one of MediaTek's applications called Battery Warning, MediaTek Battery Warning, and they were using that to steal the screen and to try and stop me from uploading videos, because it would steal the screen and it would reset the browser. So you'd be caught in this loop all the time, so I couldn't upload videos to YouTube. And this is what I'm talking about. They interfere with your life. They don't want me uploading videos about their behavior, so they interfere by using the application to steal the screen and also to cause continual refreshes or loops in the browser. So here's another example. When I go, I showed you already. Did I show you? Yes, I did, about the date. I set the date off all the time, and I don't want it being changed. The other night, I went online and I was, working, and I just turned on the phone, and this is that video, and you can see the my time is on, my radio is on, so I'm connected to the internet, but my time is wrong. This is at like 1 or 2 in the morning. It says 11 o'clock because I just turned it on, but the time is wrong. So if you go forward here, I'll just try and find the position. So see, when you go into accounts, there's the date, see? So I removed the battery and it took the date of the wrong date, I wanted to show my point. Here's the wrong date. Now, when I go online, that should not change because I've got it set not to change. However, shortly after I got the phone, it would always reset. The phone was resetting itself, and my command or my option to not set the time was being overridden, and it was being overridden by their system that controls my phone. Their system was overriding my settings. Their system can override all my settings. And their friend run a school in this unit, counted the present day. Okay, there, here you can see it's Friday the 1st in January, and this is after. If I go back up, you can see Friday, it's online, and it says Friday the 1st. And this video was running 4 minutes. So it was 4 minutes into it when it was still Friday the 1st, and the 4G, I was online. Now, what's interesting about this is that since I started using the phone, very, very shortly after I started using the phone, they overridden. That's the way it should be, but they stopped that, and every time I went online, the phone automatically checked and automatically corrected the time. That's their system. That's Games Foley next door, the Anglican, training to be Mr. 007, dickhead, twat face. That's him. He's connecting to my phone, and I think that he's mirrored my phone, that he's kind of, and when I say him, it's not just him. It's a whole group of people. They are swine. They help each other out, and they're all in this together. So they all help out. There's some Asians involved that can barely speak English. There's an Asian guy, Goo. I call him Goo, or Poo, or Boo. He's from Melbourne, and he was helping out Das Vile with some attacks, I think. He's on the Societist. Ooh, nice guy. He's on the Societist and works for the student paper, and then in his spare time he hacks people and breaks their shit. Yeah, that's the thing. These people are liars and cheats. They're cheats. They have secret ways into machines that nobody else knows because they're involved with the government, because the government trains them. I'm certain of it. And whatever they know on their own aside, like the Chinese people come here and they probably have some secrets too, being from China and all. If they're in IT, maybe they have some secrets, and maybe they're giving them over, handing them over to the church, and maybe the church is giving them a leg up. In Australia here, maybe a visa. Makes sense. The point is that they have secret methods of accessing machines. Secret methods. One of them is one of the most dangerous things I've ever seen in Senra. insidious serial nether remote assault. They can remotely access all of our machines after I remove the wireless and Bluetooth cards. So they're accessing our machines after I've removed the wireless and Bluetooth cards. That is deadly serious. And by accessing them, I mean root ownership. I mean changing file attributes on NTFS file systems from read to read write to read only, so that I can't write to a USB file. By accessing files on my desktop and reading them, because stat, the Unix stat program, tells me that they've been touched when I was nowhere near the computer. Things like that, changing configuration files, changing firewall rules, going underneath the firewall, doing anything they want. That's what I mean by cheating. These bastards cheat, and they can be in your phone, you don't even know it. There's no evidence on this phone that they're in it, except for little glitches, and most people just throw that off. But if you look at that one video there that I showed, you'll see that here, you'll see, hey, Chris Mosley here. I'm not going to go bother finding it, but you'll see that at the date said January 1st in 2010, so it had not changed. And I was online for 4 minutes. So that meant something was different. And then I kind of perked up and I'm like, wait, something's different here. The date hasn't changed. It always changes. And then I thought, wait a second, something must have broke. They must have broke their connection and I'm not connected to them anymore. And he was sleeping because it was 2 o'clock in the morning. So something must have happened. He must have got an alarm. He must be monitoring the system, and then he gets alarms sent to him, like emails, and then they trigger off an alarm or something because he woke up. And whenever he wakes up like that, he always runs around, busies himself, turns on his computer or whatever, and then he pinches his kid's cheek, and I hear the kid wake up because he's always got deniability, even with this friggin' kid. He can't be up for no reason because then he's monitoring me. So then he pinches his kid, and then he's up because of his kid. And he does it all the time. So I hear him get up, and then I hear him rummaging around, and then my date changes. My date gets corrected. I go online, I'm online, and my date gets corrected. So that means he connected to the phone, and it changed the configuration of the phone, and now my phone was again, as it did before, getting the date, right? Which is wrong, but his system's commanding mine. And then, of course, after I saw that, then I heard his baby start crying. So let's go and look at another video, and I want to show you about, so now that we've clarified that, he woke up, he connected to the phone, and then the phone was changing the date. This was a good file the other day, and now it's not a good file. I was just watching this the other day and it was fine, and now it won't play. Unexpected end of file encounter, and that was him, because that was a good file. I'm certain of it. I remember, because I remember the size of it, and I remember Bart's bits and pieces in it that were really lots of evidence. Here is let's go back and let's go to here. Yeah, okay, try this one. So hi, my name is Chris Mosley. I live in Sydney, New South Wales. I was the most active attacker. And here's me, hacker. Another example. So here, yeah, he was up, and then the baby starts crying. Yeah, so here, this is when I came online, and then I realized what was happening, and I made a video about it. And I was at the end of the video at 8:57. I never cut this video off. He did. Because just before it cuts off, I go online and I see evidence of his activity. I'll get to that in a bit. On its own. Yeah, he was up, and then the baby starts crying. He gets up first, and then the baby wakes up. Usually the baby gets up first, and then the parent gets up, but with them it's backwards. I think I always have it off because I don't want... Okay. I'm screwing with it, but it really doesn't matter because his system controlled it anyways for a long time. See, it just quits. See? I'm in mid-sentence and it just quits. I never quit. I never stopped it. He quit because right after this, I go online. I pulled on the screen and I go online. And then it switches off and you see evidence of him connecting to the phone. What kind of evidence? Here, I'll show you. So I will find it here. I'll just scrub forward a little bit and try to find it. It was proof that he was connected to it, but he killed it. And there's another example of a video that I can't play that had evidence on it. Okay, it's close, so I'm just going to play this through, okay? But what I want you to do is, in the middle there, it says battery saver. Watch underneath the battery saver. And watch the weird time, and then watch the date. When the date changes, there's a time underneath 1552. There's another time. Watch what happens when it goes online. This is interesting. Let's see. Yeah, see, it's not doing it now. But before it was, and I watched it. He got up. He turned it off. Now, there, see? There. Okay, so if you can see it, look underneath my time for this video at 16:23, and look what happened to the time. Look at 60:78:6, 24:52. What's up with that? And it switched the minute the time was corrected. That's his system. It's supposed to be real human time like mine, but his system time is a different time, and that's his system. That's not my system. His system caused my time to be updated. And when my time was updated, the system clock on the application changed. I think that's evidence for his system controlling my system. I think that's evidence for his system being in this system tampering with it. And things like that happen all the time. All the time. Oh, unexpected end of file. Oh, I guess that had evidence in it too. all these files that won't play. Okay, so let's try this one. Hey, Chris Bosley here. I live at what videos about are caused by them. That the MediaTek battery. I'm talking about the MediaTek battery thing here. I think I've uploaded this. Device memory is currently critical. I've only recent programs. See, here's another example of being cut off. I'll press like supposedly my phone, and then the other one is for them douchebags that are attacking. He's on the stairs. See, I heard the stairs tap. He sits on the stairs, eh? Because it's closer to the wall, and then he can scan better. I guess he gets a better signal. Try something else and see if this date comes back. But anyways, this. See, I'm in mid-talk again, and then it gets cut off. That's another example of him. And the reason is because I went online, and again, he's trying to cut off evidence of going online. And what he's trying to cut off is evidence like what I just showed you. Like this. Where is it? Of that weird happening there, where it goes online and the date is corrected, and you get that weird. And then I have to hit it again, parallel. No, that's not the one. Anyways, yeah, I showed it to you already. Just maybe go back and view it. So that's the whole thing. So now let's see what happens if I go online. Friday the Friday the 1st, January 2000. Let's see what happens when I go online. Let's see what happens. So there's the time on the bottom, 1922. I don't know, it won't. See? Is it going to change? Friday the 1st. Yeah. So see? He may have corrected it. They were running around today busy, and I think that they may have corrected the problem. What is it? Friday the 9th? No, there it is. There it is still. And look at the time. Look at the time recorded. Look underneath battery saver and look at the time. It's 60, 82, 09, 47. That's not right. And if you go back and you view that, you'll see it change. So that's not right. So they're still in the system, and he got up and he connected, because before he got up, it was running fine. It wasn't, his system wasn't connected to it. He got up and then connected. He got up earlier on and then connected the machine. And so when I connected online, then his machine told my machine to update. But if you go look at my system settings, see, look at the time. There, you can see it really clear. That is not right. And if you go back to earlier, you'll see that it was a normal time, a human readable time. And I think that's evidence for him being in the system. You know? So, I mean, look at that. What is that? And why did it switch to that when I went online and just after my system update was fixed? I think that they are controlling the system, and in the system that's a glitch. And they're tampering with the phone, and they've somehow made this phone, because they've tampered with it, they made this phone unstable, which breaks all the security, probably. Of course it breaks all the security. They're in the freaking system. So, I mean, it's absolutely completely unethical for these pricks to go and study ethics during the day and write their their Bible tests and their freaking Bible prayers and have their Bible meetings and go to church on Sunday and talk about Jesus when they're doing this bullshit on the side. Oh man, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I mean, I don't even, it's just repulsive. Especially here, so we're going to see off. Everything's off. So why did it switch? Why is the date now correct? What's telling the system to do that? It's not me. It's not my system. So there you go. There's a perfect example of the Anglicans and how they are in the system and screwing with it. They have absolute control over it, and they're just complete scumbags. Absolute complete scumbags. They're completely immoral. They have no scruples. These people are the worst swine I've ever met in my life. At least a crook has to go do their time. If a person decides to be a crook, they got to do their time. But these bastards, these coward pieces of crap, they just hide behind the church. And then the church hides behind the government. It's absolutely repulsive. There is nothing honorable about these people at all. Everything about them is, look at the time. That is just unbelievable. It's weird. Everything about these people is disgusting. Everything about these people is dishonest. Everything about them is a lie. He goes and he holds a little baby like, oh, no baby, I'm such a good dad. And he's a big, huge, throbbing piece of the worst person I've ever met. And all of them are exactly the same. Seriously, I mean, they call themselves good, and they get all offended when you critique them and criticize them, but they are the worst people. They're not even, I don't even qualify them as people. They're not people, they're things. But I mean, just think about it. They're supposed to be going to church, and they're supposed to be studying the Bible, and they're supposed to be believing in Jesus, who taught, all the good things, and there's not a single good thing among them. They're absolutely lost their minds. They're crazy. And all these things they're doing to me, they're doing to lots of people, man. I bet you they're all over the world. Episcopalians in America. I bet you they're in Europe. I know they're in England, but they're probably doing these same techniques everywhere. And they're stealing ideas. They're stealing information. They're stealing, and this is the worst. Everybody thinks they're secure. And these bastards are coming up behind them, and they don't even have the decency to lube up. They just rape you and then laugh about it and then giggle at their freaking prayer meetings, at their bunshaft circle jerk sessions. It's pathetic. You people, if you're watching this, I think you are disgusting. You are the most repulsive things that walk this earth. Seriously. You take technology and then you use people and you abuse people and you do it behind their back. You're like disgusting peeping toms looking at titties in the window at the night during the night, sitting in a tree like a disgusting pervert. That's what you're like. You're sick. And to the other people that you are duping, the people that you hang around every day and that they think that they think you're this great person, I feel sorry for those people because they have no idea how evil and wicked you are, and you're probably screwing them too. These people are involved in the Australian government, and I think that the Australian government has the same attitude as long as we win. Look at what Premier Mike Baird said when they found a bug in the underneath a chair of the All Black team rugby, the All Blacks from New Zealand. They found a bug under the chair in their conference room. And what did Premier Mike Baird say? Well, if it helps us win, that's pretty well sizes it up. Their whole attitude is screw everybody. If it helps us win, they'll screw anybody over. They don't care about the Jewish people community. They don't care about Palestinians. They don't care about Lebanese. They don't care about black people. They don't care about Aboriginals. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They're going to sell this country down the freaking river, and they'll take anybody with them. If they're in a room alone with you, Mr. Trump, they'll steal all the shit that they can. So you'd better keep your phone wrapped up in a nice Faraday cage. Otherwise, they're going to be raping you too, dude. Anybody. University professors, students, anybody in school, they'll just connect to the network and just steal anything they can. And they've got a huge system, a huge framework of lawyers. They'll take everything. So, I mean, this is really, really bad. I've never seen anything like it. And the thing that makes it worse is these people are coordinated. These people are organized. They're well connected. If they can't do anything, it's only a 5-minute call away. And somebody will be there in less than 5 minutes helping them. They're connected, extremely rich, and these rich people are making a shitload of cashola. Seriously. How much money can you make off of this? Being able to hack any machine, any computer without any evidence. How much money can you make being able to destroy and delete data at whim? How do you think Van de Gould got off that 7-year court case? I wonder what happened with that federal documentation. I wonder what happened with the federal police investigation, how they screwed up. I'd be willing to bet it was data loss. I'd be willing to bet it was people like this. I'd be willing to bet it was people like this, these rat-faced bastards, destroying data just like they're doing on this phone, just like they clip off the ends of the phone just before the data shows up, just before the evidence. Anyways, I certainly hope that other people get this. If you're sensing a little bit of hostility, it's not hostility. It's just real deep disappointment and real fear for innocent people that are going to be hurt by these bastards because they care nothing about anybody but themselves. They will sell their mother if it would get them to what they want. They don't care about anybody or anything or anyone. They are the one true religion, and everyone else has to get out of their way. Either you join them or they'll break you. Either you join them and become what they want, or they'll murder you. They'll poison you. They'll get rid of you quick. And that's these people, that's their attitude, their mentality. They have a sickness. They've all lost their minds, and their isolated group supports it. Their isolated group encourages it. They're all sick, so they all encourage each other's sickness. And they're all twisted, and so they all encourage each other's twistedness. It's like they try to out-twist each other. And it's never ending. And I don't know how they sleep doing the things they do, but they do. And they get up in the next morning bright and early and carry on just like it was the day before, as if nothing happened. You know, and they just destroy data, or they just broke your computer, or they just broke your phone. They don't care. So basically what it comes down to is ownership. They want to control and own all data and all information that can make them any money. And they want to be able to destroy any data that would incriminate them or their friends, like Van de Gould with his $1 million gifts to the More Theological Bible College. Hey, can you guys help me out? I got a problem. Can you get rid of some data? Can you break it? I heard you guys got some good computer guys over there. Do you think you could help me out and get rid of some data, get rid of some, just kind of fudge it up a bit so that they can't use it in court? Sure, we'll just change the dates of files so they're inadmissible. We'll just lose a couple files. And so it's bad. And again, look at the time. So thank you for the clock there. So thank you for watching, and please be aware this is really serious stuff, and I hope this isn't kept a secret, because they're doing a really good job of keeping a secret on this, and they're keeping a really good job of wrapping up their wickedness so that the rest of the world doesn't deal with it. All I have to say is don't deal with these people. Don't deal with them in business. Don't even go in the same room with them. If you're dealing with Anglicans, Presbyterians, or Baptists, these people in business, get out of it, because they're going to rape you. And if you're trying to get a good deal, forget about it. They probably know if they've been near your computer and your computer has all the data on it. I'm telling you, man, they know all your shit already. So realize that their grins are not sincere. They're grinning like that because they know your shit, because they know that they've got something on you. That's the only time they grin, is when they're winning. When I've got lots of evidence on them, and when I've got clear evidence on them, man, they're a bunch of spineless freaking jellyfishes, panicking and freaking and running around like cockroaches, scurrying in the kitchen corner when you open the fridge light. Disgusting. And then they all come together and they work together like scurrying little cockroaches. And they all come together and they work their shit and give them 12 hours and they've destroyed the data. And then they're all walking around like princes again. They're all walking around like Jesus. Walking around like Jesus, only their halo's bigger and it's nicer gold. It's shinier. And some of them have diamonds. Walking around sweet and nice, sweet and tasty. Praise Jesus. And then they, because they just finished raping your ass. So yeah, if they're grinning at you, it means they got something on you. And if you ever do have any evidence or data to prove of their crimes and sins, then they can easily wipe it because they control all the devices, and they can easily access and control all the devices. And by the time you realize what they've done, they're laughing their ass off and they're long gone. So just please take care and please heed this, because this is not crying wolf. I've lived with these people for 3 years and they've destroyed lots of our property. We got a surveillance system and they cracked our surveillance system and they accessed our surveillance system and deleted data. Deleted footage off of our air-gapped surveillance system. So you can't even have a surveillance system because they just delete data from it. It's false security and a waste of electricity, because they go into the system and then they just delete footage. They break into your house and they delete the footage, and then they look at you and grin and say, well, you do got cameras, don't you? Look at your cameras. Look at your cameras, mate. You got cameras, right, mate? Look at your cameras. Where's the evidence? But they were just in like a couple minutes earlier deleting it, and I've seen the footage deleted. I've seen it. I've seen footage and I've marked down the time, and then I've gone back to that time and it's gone. So they're horrible, evil things, and it scares the crap out of me, because everybody is denying this, and every time I say this to somebody, they turn around and they're like, no, it's impossible. But I'm telling you, man, it's evil, and these people, what they're doing is pretty scary. As far as I know, they can access any device they want. any device. This isn't bullshit. NSA cracked the iPhone. Look, this phone is an Android and it's encrypted, and they own it, and they can delete any file they want on it. And it took them what, 12 hours? It took them 12 hours. Within 6 hours of using the phone, within 10 minutes, I was noticing changes in the behavior. Within 6 hours, they were starting to gain control enough that they could make configurations on their own. And within 14 hours, they owned their freaking phone totally. So enough to change the battery profile. So that's, pretty bad. This isn't. This is really, really serious. So have a good day, and yeah, good luck, and take care. I'm gonna turn this off.